Oh my god. Ah. So, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Well, it's been, I had a look recently. It's been 7 years since I've uploaded a video, and therefore 7 years since I've been able to say hello to all of you guys. So welcome back to my channel if you've been with me for ages. Yeah, I hope you're happy to see me again. I really don't know how to film this intro, but basically since the last time I was on YouTube, a lot has changed. So where do I even begin? I think the biggest thing is that I'm now living in Barcelona, and I've been living here for about 6 months. So I feel like kind of equipped to start talking about things like in relation to moving to Barcelona that you guys might be interested in. And also I'm down to do all sorts of different content. I put up on Instagram recently, like whether or not you guys wanted to see content about moving to Barcelona, skincare and makeup or fashion. And most of you guys said you wanted to see a video about the process of moving to Barcelona, specifically like visas and jobs and things like that. So with that, I wanted to make that like my first coming back video. Okay, so a little recap. My name is Connie and I'm from Brisbane, Australia. But right now I have been living in Barcelona for 6 months. So how did I get over here? Why did I come over here? You probably have a couple of questions, but I'm hoping to answer them in this video. So let's first start with the why. I first came to Barcelona when I was on like a big Euro trip with one of my best friends from home, and we were meant to be touring all around Europe together on this like multiple month adventure, you know? It was very Euro summer. So this was in the summer of 2023. And when I came here, I loved it. The first time I came to Barcelona, I didn't see anything like touristy wise, because I was out like every single night. So I didn't even see the Sagrada Familia, which was kind of embarrassing. So yeah, I was in Germany for 3 days before I decided to book a flight back. Then I spent a week in Berlin and I came back to Barcelona, and I basically didn't leave for the rest of my Schengen visa, which is like your 3-month tourist visa. So obviously I was loving life here and I didn't want to leave. So I was like brainstorming like ideas to come back. And my friends had done this program called the Auxiliares de Conversación program. That kind of segues us perfectly into the next part, which is talking a little bit about visas. So you guys, moving to Barcelona as a non-European person, I'm not gonna lie, it's super duper hard. So you have to really, really want it, because it's not gonna be easy. Like it's not like you just decide to move there kind of on a whim. Like this is kind of like months, years in the planning. So you have to really want it, you know what I mean? With coming here, I had some different options, but the easiest way that I could see was doing the Auxiliares de Conversación program. So this is a program with the Spanish government, with the Ministry of Education here in Spain, where they basically bring foreigners from other countries that they have relationships with, and you can come over here and teach your language in a public school. So I had friends who'd done this before, so I was like, okay, this could be a really good idea. So that's why I decided to come over here on that program, because it allows you to take a visa, which is the student visa. So I got this when I was in Australia. Then I came to Spain at the beginning of last year. Then I was able to stay here for 6 months and do the program on this visa. And then I basically reapplied to do the program again. Now I'm in my 2nd year of doing this program. Some other options you can consider as well is my friend has also done the like qualified, well, I think it's called the highly qualified worker visa, which is basically where you get sponsored to work in a job that is of high demand here in Spain. I know someone who's done that before. There's also another option is the digital nomad visa. While I do know people who are on this visa, the general consensus that I've heard is that it's not super easy to get. And in Spain, it's one of the hardest places in Europe to get a digital nomad visa. So that if you are a digital nomad, there are easier countries to do it. But obviously, like, I'm a big advocate for coming over here because it's so nice. Like, for me, the city has everything. Like, Barcelona has so many things that I love, but I would say like one of the top things is that I love how walkable it is. Like, I can walk to almost anyone's place that I know under an hour or under 45 minutes really. Like, I can basically walk everywhere that I need to go, which is kind of insane. Like, coming from Brisbane, which is a city that has a smaller population, but it's so much more spread out than Barcelona. Like, I'm kind of really enjoying living in such a densely populated city, which is very like metropolitan, you know what I mean? What was I saying? Okay, I'm getting so distracted. Okay, so digital nomad visa would be the third option. And then the last option is you could do, well, not the last, but these are the most common ones that I've heard of. And the last option I'll mention is the pareja de hecho, which is like a partner visa. So that is if you get into a relationship with somebody who is not necessarily Spanish, but they could also be European, then you can also register that relationship and then become civil partners. And then you can get residency rights as well as a foreigner. So that's another way that you could stay in Spain. Obviously, choose one that is most relevant to you and your circumstances. Those are the main options that are out there. Okay, let's have a look. What's next? I've got like my notes here, so I want to make sure I talk about everything. Okay, so next is the job market. So I came here with like a job already secured, which is my teaching job, but I have friends who came here without a job and just with a visa. So if you come here with a visa and then you are looking for a job and you're wondering what that landscape is going to look like, I have to say from what I've observed, it is more difficult to look for a job here than, for example, Brisbane, which is like the only other place I can compare it to. It's a lot more difficult than in Australia. I think in Australia, we are like kind of lacking a lot of like qualified workers. We're so far away from the rest of the world. Sometimes it's more difficult for us to get people to come and work. But here in Spain, like, it's way more connected and there's a lot of immigration. And to be honest, like, I don't get the feeling that Spain or Barcelona is looking for more people. Like, there's already enough people for all the jobs. And so it is quite a lot more competitive to look for work here. So my best friend who moved here with me, for example, it took him about 4 months to find a really great job. And obviously that's being really selective and that's being quite considerate of like career advancement, salary, and all of those things. So yeah, it does take a while to find a good job. So I don't want you to come here with the idea that it's like super easy like it was in Australia to like find jobs. It's definitely going to be more difficult, but you don't necessarily need like the Spanish language to get a job here. Some jobs, of course, it does require you to speak Spanish, but a lot of jobs don't also require you to speak Spanish, especially if you're working for like a foreign company, like a company overseas, or if it's like an international company that is operating in Spain. So a lot of the time, you know, they do work in English, which is kind of cool. And something else about like the language space is that like, I'm not sure if many people are aware because I wasn't aware until I came here, but in Barcelona, which is in the state or the autonomous community of Catalonia, people do speak Catalan. So that's another thing, like not everyone will be speaking Spanish necessarily, and some people do speak English and then also other people speak Catalan. So it's like a real cultural melting pot here. And I won't go into the politics in this video or anything like that. Actually, I don't want to speak about politics in any of my videos, so I'm not going to talk about that. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is cost of living. So I would say that the cost of living in Barcelona is cheaper than the cost of living in Brisbane, Australia. Like, I know Australia is like one of the most expensive places in the world to live. But it's not like ridiculously more expensive. I would say it's probably about like, on a good month, like maybe 30% more expensive. I remember in Australia, like there was months where I was spending like 2,500, and then there was months where I was spending like $4,000 a month. So it really depended on the month. But here I've got like a pretty stable average. I would say like here on average, I'm spending about 1,500 to 1,600 euros per month, which I think is quite good. Like that's about like 2.5 to 3,000 Australian dollars, which is honestly like kind of fine for living in such like a metropolitan city. Also, I live like just out of the city center, so like my location is incredible, and my rent is 600 euros per month. Keep in mind, I'm living in a share house, and I was also living in a share house in Australia. Like honestly, even if I still had all the money in the world, I would probably still live in a share house because I just like love the share house vibe and like the community vibe and how you can like be friends with your housemates and spend time together. Like that's something I really value. So, and don't be a hater, because like living in a share house for me, in my opinion, is awesome, and it's a great like way to meet new people as well when you move into a new city. Like when Rowan, my best friend, moved here with me, like I literally said to him like, okay, we should live in separate housing so that we could both make friends and like introduce each other to our groups of friends, which has honestly worked so well. And now we're both really good friends with our housemates, and it's really cool. Like I love share houses, and I'm always going to be an advocate, to be honest. But in Australia, in comparison, I was like spending less money, like probably about 500 or 550 euros a month equivalent in Australian dollars on rent. But I had a way nicer room, and it was also central. So yes, in general, the rent is more expensive here. And usually the apartments will be way smaller. Like I was really lucky to have found an apartment that is 300 square meters in Eixample. Like that is, I feel blessed to have been able to find a place that's so dope. But yes, I would say rent is my biggest expense by far, and then everything else. So then I'm spending money on like obviously food, activities, and just like having a great time and like living my best life here in Barcelona. If you want me to do like a proper breakdown of my monthly expenses, I'm more than happy to do that, because I do keep track of everything I spend, just so that I know I'm not going to run out of money over here. But yes, let me know if you want me to do like a video properly breaking everything down. But those are the main things that I wanted to touch on in terms of my move to Barcelona. And I would say like my 6-month review after living here for 6 months is that Barcelona is really genuinely a city that never sleeps. Like I kept thinking like, okay, when are people going to start like chilling out, like relaxing, resting? Like when is that period of the year? And I realized like, holy shit, like people don't rest here. Like you really have to carve out your own time to be able to like retreat into yourself and like do inner work and like work on your own projects and stuff. Like if you're just waiting for like the social calendar to chill, like it literally won't. Like basically the whole year, like I haven't really chilled except in January right now. And now I'm like utilizing the time to like really make moves and do a lot of things that I've been wanting to do, like work on my projects, like returning to YouTube, for example. This is something I've been wanting to do for months, but really haven't found the capacity to do it like within my social calendar until this month. So you really have to put your foot down to like not get swept away in all that the city has to offer, which is a lot. Yeah, I definitely don't think I can ever be bored here. Like while I'm young and full of energy, like this is really the kind of place I wanted to be. And that's why I kind of bit the bullet and moved here in the last couple of years of my 30s. Like that's where I wanted to be. Like I can always go back to Australia and retire there or spend more time there when I'm older. But right now I wanted to be somewhere really fun and engaging and somewhere that was really going to challenge me. And I definitely feel like Barcelona is ticking all of those boxes for me. I don't even have any complaints about the healthcare system so far. So yeah, so far so good. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. -1 because girl, like I need to sleep. But otherwise, it's really treated me so well. And public transport is really cheap. Cost of living is way cheap. I've made some incredible connections here, and I'm really excited to start sharing more aspects of my life here with you. So please tell me in the comments what kind of video content you guys would like to see, and honestly go crazy because I'm down to film pretty much anything. So whatever you're interested in, let me know. And I'm so happy to be back, and I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Guys, I can't believe I just did the whole hand thing again. Like, it's been so long since I've done that. It feels really good to be back. Love you guys. Mwah.